President Barack Obama laid out a packed to-do list for his second term during his State of the Union address last night. Joining me to get into the nitty-gritty of the president's agenda are Ron Nehring, Vice Chairman of the San Diego County Republican Party, and Francine Busby, Chairwoman of the local Democratic Party. Ron, last time you were here, you faulted President Obama for not focusing on jobs and the economy in his inaugural address last month. Last night, he talked about reinvesting in the country's infrastructure, in reinvesting in research and development, in creating a network of manufacturing hubs. How did those ideas go over with you?
Well, I think it's good that the president is talking about these things, but that's how the president leads. He talks. He doesn't lead by actually doing things that are constructive. And I heard a lot last night about more cylinders, more investment in government-directed industrial policy, which has been a failure everywhere in the world that it's been tried. What we don't hear from the president are the type of things that will really improve America's competitiveness. He said nothing about the job-dampening effects that his Obamacare healthcare legislation is doing, the fact that he continues to push for higher taxes on the people who create the most jobs in this country, increasing taxes on small businesses and the like. Those are very dangerous signals for the economy. So it's one thing to talk about the economy, it's another thing to have the right ideas, and he didn't have the right ideas last night.
Francine, on to gun control. Handguns are responsible for most of the firearms deaths in this country, and yet there is nothing in President Obama's gun reform package that tightens restrictions on handguns. Why?
Well, this is the first time we've heard a conversation on any kind of arms control, arms regulation, safety, arms safety in this country in decades. And he knows that it's going to take time to inch toward reforms that need to be addressed. So I think he's starting with reforms that make sense, that most people in the country agree with, which is the background checks for everyone, and then take it one step at a time.
Ron, there was an emotional moment in the chamber last night when President Obama spoke of his gun reform proposal, which includes universal background checks, a limit on magazines, and renewing the assault weapons ban. He also talked about the need for a vote. Here's a clip from him.
Each of these proposals deserves a vote in Congress. If you want to vote no, that's your choice. But these proposals deserve a vote.
Ron, do you think these proposals deserve a vote?
Well, I would love to see President Obama telling the Democratic-controlled Senate that the jobs bills that the House of Representatives have reported out, that the Republicans have taken the lead on, that they deserve a vote. So if the president were as interested in about actually helping the economy as he is in getting political advantage on this issue right now, then that rhetoric should be both-sided. I don't know when this bill is going to come up for a vote. I think this is a matter of the legislative process working itself through. This is why we have a legislative process. This is why we don't have a dictatorship, because presidents don't show up in Congress and tell Congress what to do. And if they do, maybe they should focus on both sides of the Capitol as well.
Francine, speaking of the legislative process, there seems to be a lot of bipartisanship on the issue of immigration reform, where Democrats and Republicans are concerned. How do you harness this bipartisanship and allow it to spill over into other areas?
You know, I think part of the problem is sort of like we just saw right now. You asked, will Congress pass a bill on these gun control issues that the president is proposing that are modest, one step at a time, and we changed the topic to the Senate. We need to have the entire Congress, the Senate and the House, focused on working together. Clearly, the Republicans have a very political reason for wanting immigration control or immigration reform to pass. The Democrats have been promoting this, talking about this for years. The president is committed to doing this. Get him a bill and he will sign it. So if everyone is willing to get this thing done, this immigration reform, something everyone agrees to, they've got to get it through the Republican House that has an intransigent minority that will not agree to anything.
Ron, the president talked about increasing the minimum wage to $9 per hour by 2015. Here's a little bit of what he said.
In fact, working folks shouldn't have to wait year after year for the minimum wage to go up, while CEO pay has never been higher.
Do you agree?
The biggest challenge facing our economy right now and getting people back to work is not raising the minimum wage. We know the Democrats push a minimum wage hike because so many of their union friends have contracts where wages are tied to whatever the minimum wage is plus a certain amount. The president is playing politics with this. If he were serious about jobs, we'd move forward in the Republican jobs bills that have already passed in the House.
Ron Nehring, Francine Busby, we have to close it there. Thank you for speaking to us today.
Thank you for having us.